Hello. Hi, everyone. Hi, Altern. Welcome back. Hello to Gilliam. Thank you so much for resubscribing. My chat says that you've had a 14-month streak. Thank you so much for that long of support. I really appreciate that. I appreciate you. I appreciate all of you. Hello. I just saw Gilliam's comment. Hello, Erin. Welcome in. Altern, that is so nice. Sorry to make you wait for the stream. I have moved. You can notice that my background is a little bit different. Can you tell that nothing has been set up yet? Okay, hold on. Which way do I go? Yeah, look at all of the boxes that need unpacking. Rachel, welcome back in. I'm so happy to see you. I hope everything is getting better for you. It has been a month, so I hope things have been better since then. The East Coast, oh boy, the East Coast has been the East Coast, it's been hot. We landed and it was 90 degrees, which I heard that in the Bay Area in certain parts it was over 100 degrees at the same time. But I think the difference for us is that when we were in SF or right outside of SF, if there was 100-degree weather, we just would not go outside. Although, to be fair, we don't have AC. A lot of us don't have AC in the Bay because traditionally, why would we? So that was a little bit rough when it got really hot in the Bay, but also I guess the main difference right now is that at 90 degrees weather, because we just moved here, we had to run all around the place trying to like gather furniture and stuff. Actually, oh boy, do I have a story for you all. But wait, hold on. Let's put that aside for now. The story is about our moving process. Oh boy, I have so many stories for you all this time around. Wait, I got distracted. We were talking about yes, the weather, how the East Coast has been. Yeah, so and it's humid. It's like 90 degrees and humid, and I can't stand it, and I just sweat. But that's not anything new because I would go back to Asia and it would be hot and humid and I would sweat anyways. I think it's just having to run around in this weather to try and acquire furniture to furnish our new place. I think at one point I was suffering heat exhaustion. I was like, I'm really tired right now. And then there was also there's also the tornado flood that happened last Wednesday. Yeah, so my husband was like, wow, we traded a few different natural disasters for just a completely different set of natural disasters. By the way, if anybody is I haven't been completely keeping track of all of the fires, but I think I heard that the South Lake Tahoe one has been really bad. So I hope if you're there, I hope you're keeping safe. I don't know what other fires are on the West Coast right now, but I hope you're just keeping safe in general. And a lot of the infrastructure has been affected because of the flood here, and there's been a lot of stories about people living in basements that just all of their possessions have been ruined. And then I have also read a few reports about people that have drowned because of the floods. It's kind of, I'm not quite sure how to feel or what to make of it yet, because it just learning about how vulnerable it's vulnerable the right word, how bad the infrastructure is, and all of the things that are happening because of climate change. I don't think I've like fully processed it yet, but yeah, that was probably a much longer and more involved answer than you were expecting to the question, how is the East Coast? I apologize. um, ooh, uh, Gilliam says, still crafty background. It's not very crafty though. It's like, it just, things that I have yet to unpack. Actually, those things are from my studio office back in SF. So like for a few years, I actually had like 2 sets of everything. Like I had like a home setup of a monitor and desk and keyboards, etc. And I had to get rid of that. But like also those are like my other, wait, hold on. My other set of just like desk decorations that used to be in my studio office, and now I have no idea where to put them. I guess my husband was unpacking and he started just like, I guess maybe we like just randomly shoved these stuffed animals into his filing cabinet. So when he was just like unpacking them, he just like decorated my bookshelf with it. But I've been meaning to put my books here. The thing is, I'm not quite sure yet if I don't know yet if I want this bookshelf here yet. I feel like things are still in flux, which is not great because my classes are starting tomorrow. Starting to already get homework, so I'm feeling a little bit nervous about trying to unpack still, and having classes, which I guess now I will tell the story of our move. So we decided to ship like 1 container's worth of stuff here, just things that we didn't want to have to bother, like furniture that we didn't want to have to bother reacquiring in New York. That we thought would just be like too much of a hassle if we have to like carry it down the street, or I don't know, or like get it shipped or anything. So we just got like 1 container that was like an 8 feet by 5 feet by 8 feet. Put in, you know, our couch, my armchair, our 2 standing desks. I think that was the big furniture. Our TV, just things that we didn't want to try to reacquire. Packed all of that up into a box. I probably mentioned this in our August update, actually, because I think that was right after we shipped off all of those things. So that box was picked up on the 2nd of August, and it was quote unquote guaranteed arrival on the 24th in New York. The Friday before, we just like check in to see where the box is, and we're like, according to this online portal, the box has not left California. And it's supposed to be in New York, like the following Tuesday. So that's what, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 days away. It's like, And it was supposed to leave like 5 days prior. It's like, interesting. So we start calling U-Haul, and being the giant conglomerate that it is, we get like shuffled around to like many different departments. Sometimes like someone would pick up, I'll say hello, and they'll just like wordlessly like transfer me somewhere else. I'm like, what? Like literally I just said hello and they're like transferring me to a different department with no warning, and I just hear like another phone ring. Yeah, so played phone tag with like U-Haul for a week. And then we learned that our box of stuff And it like definitely did not leave California until like 2 days after it was supposed to. So like guaranteed date was the 24th. It did not leave California until the 26th. So it took until that day for us to learn that the reason why it never left California was because on the 16th, which was when their third party, they have like a third party for driving those boxes across the country. So apparently, that third party courier service did come by the warehouse and did pick up a box. They just didn't pick up our box. And like the person that was explaining it to my husband was like, yeah, it was just pure human error. And we were like, how? Like, how do you not like check and verify, like, I don't know, the confirmation number or like just where they're supposed to go? So we were like, I think we were really stressed for a week, and then after we learned that, it was kind of like it's just too funny, like, and then we were like, there's just like another group of people out there somewhere, just being like, why is our box in New York? So yeah, so we were supposed to get our box on the 25th, because I had a bunch of orientation events last week. So I was like, okay, get it on the 25th. We'll unpack for the following few days, have the weekend to unpack. And then hopefully, like, I know I won't be done unpacking, but like, hopefully I'll be mostly done by the time the orientation events are happening. Did not get all our stuff, did not get here. Actually, the courier service like just got the box across the country in like 4 days or something. They picked it up on 26th, which I think is the Thursday, and then it arrived in Staten Island on Sunday. So I guess they just almost around the clock drove it. But then because of all of my like orientation activities, we couldn't actually schedule for it to be like delivered to us for us to, unpack all of the things until last Friday. So then Friday we like unpacked a bunch of things, and then yeah, just a great way to start off school. Yeah. Anyways, that is my moving story. And the whole time, like, I just saw Rachel's comment. You had one job. I know, right? Like, you had one job. Your one job was to pick up the box and drive it across the country. And you just picked up the wrong box. I'm just like, this too shall pass. But I am just very annoyed at the fact that like, it just, I think starting school is probably just gonna be stressful, and then having and then not having everything like figured out in terms of our stuff before that, I think is just, it's not the ideal situation that we wanted to be in. But at least we have our stuff now. And I am so happy to like just to have my desk again, because I haven't had it. I've had to like work without my, okay, this sounds so spoiled, but I've had to do my work without my usual monitor, and it has been painful. It has been very painful. It's been very painful, like trying to fit code and like debugger and browser into a 13-inch monitor or like 13-inch laptop. I am sorry if this is a really spoiled thing to say, but I am so happy to get my monitor set up back. Yeah, So that's the biggest story. There's like little other stories sprinkled in between. If we have the time, I would love to tell you about our vent, the kitchen in our vent. Oh boy, do I have feelings about that vent hood. Oh boy, do both my husband and I have feelings about that vent hood. But maybe that would be a later story. But that does remind me. We talked, I think, in a previous stream about Roombas and fake Roombas, and how we had like $150 fake Roomba that I lovingly named Foomba. And Foomba wasn't the brightest. It just wasn't the brightest. And Foomba it just was very endearingly stupid. And they would just get stuck in places, and then they would just like run out of power in like 30 minutes, and like it like wouldn't do very good of a job. They would just like it basically only had like a random search algorithm. And it just wouldn't clean our place that well, to the point at which like we just started vacuuming on our own because Fimba was just so bad at it. So this time around we decided to actually get a real Roomba, and oh my god, it has been so amazing. I was like, I get it now. It's so expensive, but I get it now. Like, it's just beautiful. Our lives are transformed. Watching a real Roomba go through our place is such a joy. Watching it map our place is such a joy. Oh, my husband is in the chat. Yeah, actually, this is where I was trying to get to. We need to solicit. We need your help naming this Roomba, because Foomba sounded really cute, and we're trying to figure out a new name for this real Roomba that sounds cute. The tentative name for this one is Proomba, for like pro Roomba, but it's not as cute of a name. So we want a better one. So Roomba is taken cute. Oh my god, yes. The major game changers have been the pausing to recharge itself and the self-emptying. Like, it just makes me so happy. I'm like, oh, you are so smart. Oh, I thought you were gonna say Goomba for like. Oh wait, no, I think maybe did we say that one, and then did we reject it because it sounded too much like the Nintendo characters? I keep looking this way because we now just share an office space, and literally he's like right he's like right there. Yeah. Oh, we rejected Gemba. That's right. Goomba actually sounds kind of cute. Wait, while we're doing this, yeah, they self-empty. It's like really intense. Like, there's a tower, so there's the Roomba and there's a tower, and then like when Roomba goes back to its station, it just like sucks it all up into the tower. And I think like after a while we're just supposed to empty the little bag in that tower, but so far we haven't had to, and then we've run it quite a few times. We'll see. Okay. While we're soliciting names, let me try and catch up on the chat, because I have been ignoring you all in the chat. Oh yeah, okay, I'm like way back in the beginning now. The crafty background, but missing the Ghibli stuff. So actually, you aren't missing the Ghibli stuff, because these are actually my small collection of Ghibli cups and mugs. Oh my god, if any of you have good recommendations for like a display cabinet, our kitchen is like very aesthetic, functionally questionable, and doesn't have the most storage space. So we're trying to find some like cabinets, like low cabinets that we can just put some of our nicer dishware into. So I've been trying to like figure out some like glass display. There was some nice like looking IKEA ones that were like black metal spine, like legs, and then glass. But then everything from IKEA is back ordered right now, and I can't even order it. So if you do have a good, relatively cheap option, we would love to hear it. So, look. Oh, someone has to run. Maddie Two Shoes. Oh my god, I totally missed you in the chat. I'm so sorry, but thank you so much for joining. I hope you have a great rest of the day, Maddie. Yeah, oh, are you starting your stream? Thank you so much for always joining. Have a great stream, Maddie. Yeah, so here's my Ghibli cup. I was using it pretty regularly, and then I started being like, oh, it's really too nice to use it. But I should just go back to using it. I think this is... So Ghibli has this collection of mugs and tea sets that are, I think there's like 6 in the series. And each design is supposed to represent 2 months. So like January and February is like more wintry theme, and then like March, April is more like spring theme, etc. I think maybe this is like this might be the November, December. I can't quite remember. It is my dream to one day collect all of it. Because not only do they have the mugs, they have teacups. So these are the teacups. Let's see. Oh gosh. And then not only it's like mugs, teacups, and they have plates in that series. So it's all very, it's like the 6 designs, but then they're on those different. Ooh, I wonder which one this is. Ah, okay. So this is the same set of months, but in teacups. It's so cute. And then do you see the makurokurosuke? Oh, there we go. Good focus. Good job, webcam. And then there is little designs on the inside. Oh, interesting. That's a really fair point, Gilliam, about the glass cases. So we did want something like a cabinet where, like, we wanted something a bit more modern looking, but something with doors so that our dishware didn't like collect dust easily. And I just thought that glass would be really nice for being able to display some of our nicer dishware. But that's a really fair point. I didn't think about that. Ooh. I think this tea cup is the one that's the springtime. I think, yeah, because I really like the springtime one. So this is the springtime, I think, teacup. The makurokurosuke. And, oh, I forgot to show you the platter. The platter is gorgeous. Is this called a platter? The bottom of a teacup? Look at that. It's so beautiful. And then there's the plates, the large kind of like dinner plates that have, I think, this design or something similar for each of the. So there's 6 of these designs in total. So the problem with these is like, I really want to collect them all because they're so beautiful, but at the same time, I never want to use them. So then, so. Oh yes, saucer. Thank you, husband. I see. It does look nice. At the very least, it's easier to dust a glass case versus the cups themselves. That is very true. What's the Schrodinger plates? I've never seen those. Yeah, let me go back and catch up on the... What? Okay, let me catch back up on the chat. because yeah, the flooding really looked crazy. We were actually out at a bar, a really cool bar though, called Wonderville. And it's a bar started by some ITP alumni. ITP is the program I'm attending. And it is a bar with indie arcade games. And then I think they were all like free to play, so really fun. And we were hanging out there. And then around 9 p.m., we started getting like tornado flood warnings, and we were like, huh. And one of our classmates was like, oh, I've been in like New York for a while, and I like, it's okay. Like, well, we get these warnings once in a while. And then we got like 6 chimes in a row that's like, go inside. Tornado warning, go inside. And he was like, huh, I've never seen 6 warnings in a row. Maybe we should start getting worried a little bit. And so as soon as he said that, I was like, okay, we're getting a lift home. So we managed to get a lift home with a few other, like, we managed to get a few of us together to get a lift home. And we like managed to get home around a little bit past 10. Like the rain was already pretty crazy then, but it hadn't started flooding yet. And as soon as we got back, I think we started seeing videos of all the flooding. It was pretty intense. And I was like, wow, like coming from California, any amounts of rain feel like a lot. Like, is this normal? And people are like, no, it's not normal. Ooh, Jay Phils, welcome in. Hello. I hope you're still around. So South Tahoe is 50% contained. Oh, thank you for letting us know. Letting some people back into the area. Oh yeah, because they were evacuated. Yeah, I hope I don't know. The fires just get worse and worse every year. So I hope there wasn't too much damage this year. I don't know. Yeah, Gilliam, I totally agree about having to unpack fast. Because then I feel like there is like some amount of momentum that happens with things that are like not very fun to do, like unpacking. That like once you lose the momentum, it's just really hard to pick it back up. I'm scared that I've already lost the momentum, but I'm hoping to like schedule some time in like next weekend or something to keep unpacking. But I realized that I think I used to, this is an aside, but I used to plan out my weeks, like what I need to do every single day. I used to plan it out on Monday mornings to be like, okay, so these are all of my meetings and these are all the things I need to get done, and so I'll do like this client work on this day, etc. Just realized that because my classes are Tuesday, Wednesdays, I might need to shift that to, I probably like my quote unquote start of a week would probably be like Thursday morning is probably when I'll have to plan, because that's when I'll know what all of my homework are. That was a complete aside. Also, by the way, I was able to get my assignments for classes, or sorry, I was able to enroll in my classes. I remember we talked about this last time, because I think our enrollment was on the 10th of August. So now I have my full class schedule, which I only have classes on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. So that's going to be interesting. Yeah, Rachel. I say interesting as a stand-in for many things. Oh, I just caught up to the point where Maddie was saying hi and that was prepping for a stream. I know, Maddie, you're not here anymore, but very grateful for your joining for a little bit and always stopping by to say hi. I've caught up to the point where we were talking about the U-Haul. Oh, Pranav, welcome back in. Hello, hello. How have you been? Have school? You're still in school, right? Grad school, undergrad? I can't remember. But the semester has started for you, right? Ah, yeah, the established workspace. Thank you for saying you understand about the monitor. Oh, yeah. Gilliam, how old is your Roomba? The one that has issues. Stroomba. What? Wait, Gilliam, you need to elaborate on this whole. Yours is starting to create its own awareness. Altern says more like Dumba. Dumba is not as cute as Fumba though. Doomba? Is it Doomba? Dumba? Fumba was much cuter of a name. Goomba, I really do like Goomba. Wait, really? Gilliam says, I just accepted that it takes my 1 week to vacuum the floor. Oh. Oh, I'm getting a spam call. Okay, let's ignore that. Satsumeka says, on decor, maybe the display for Ghibli dishware should be your stream backdrop. Like right here. Well, so the thing is that this is eventually supposed to be my workstation. Like this is my, like, you know, computer workstation, and this is supposed to be like my crafts and other non-digital homework workstation. So if I put too much decoration on it, then it's not actually a viable workstation. So I don't think we can display it there. Maybe it's that I start displaying it here, but then that means that whatever books I end up putting here isn't actually accessible. I don't know. I do miss the little shelving that we had. We didn't bring that. Actually, did we sell that? Did we sell the shelving? The shelving that used to be like right behind me? Did we sell it, or did we just donate it? This is the motion that husband just made. We just it went off into the universe. Because we're not allowed to get anything we're not allowed to like put anything up that's heavier than a photo frame. So we probably gifted it to a friend, I think. It went off into the universe. I almost want one of those though, just so that I can have like a display setup. I don't know. The Totoro teacups are just too pretty for not to be displayed. Oh, yes. Yes, that is a great suggestion from Maddie to raid at the end of the stream. To keep the viewers alive in tech. Wait, I'm not quite sure what that means. To keep the viewers alive in tech? Oh, wait, hold on. Laser cut a nice acrylic one for yourself. I'm guessing this means a nice acrylic shelf? Oh, maybe like a little stand where like I can, ooh, yeah, like a shelf with like both display but also tools to organize. I don't know, that'd be fun. Am I catching up? Wait, am I catching up? Ooh. Schrodinger plates. Let's see what they are. Oh, no. 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 Why? Gillian, why would you send that? No. That is, no. Okay. No. Oh dear is right. Yeah, so the 2 days per week. Okay, so this is about my classes. So the Tuesday and Wednesday, my classes are from 3:30 to 9:10. Um, so yeah, it's gonna be really intense. So it's like with like a little bit of a break in between. And then I think it's that a lot of the coursework is going to be done. I think a lot of the learning is usually done outside of the classes, so I'll probably just be really busy. So like even if the classes are only Tuesday, Wednesday, like I think the meat of the learning is actually outside of those hours, so I'll probably be like working on classwork just like throughout the week anyways, which is why I'm trying not to take on client work. We'll see. I'm having a hard time like putting a stop on the client work. I'm gonna actually catch up on the chat and then yeah, I had, so August was supposed to be my month off, but there was client work that bled through that anyways. And then right now I'm trying to finish my last client project, but then there's still, I keep saying to myself that I'm not going to take client work during school, but then some of them are interesting enough that I'm like, oh, this is kind of really interesting. I'm going to catch up on the chat and then kind of try and explain why that's happening. Oh my god, hello! Hello, girl likes taquitos. Welcome back in. It has been indeed a very long time. Great to see you. How have you been? Let's see. Oh, Nerdy Curious. Rach says, there are moments when I miss school and then I remember how much I disliked most of the school and that feeling goes away. I agree with you. I think maybe we briefly mentioned this in this stream before, but the reason why I'm going back to school so quote-unquote late and that I didn't, it took me like 9 years after I graduated to decide to go back to grad school instead of, I think most people go back for their master's like either right away or in their mid-20s. And I think the reason why it took me so long is because by the time I graduated, I was just so burnt out. I was like, please, no more school. Please, like, don't make me do this again. And the only reason why I applied to this one is because there's no grades. It's either pass, no pass. Like, I don't have to stress about the feeling and pressure of getting an A. I think that was that's probably the most stressful. That was probably the most stressful part about being in school, of like feeling like I needed to get an A, that my identity was tied to getting A's, but not always being able to get A's, and like the I don't know, the questioning of self-worth that comes when I don't get those A's. I think that was probably the most stressful part of school. I would like to think that I have evolved past that, but I'm not sure if that's just because I'm not in school anymore. But I'm very, very glad that this one is pass, no pass, so that I don't have to worry about that. Only reason why I was willing to apply to this one. And then also, I was really shitty at taking tests. I always did, not always, but a lot of times I did really poorly on my finals, but I always really enjoyed doing projects. And so this program is almost all projects based instead of tests. So those are the two reasons, the only two reasons why I decided to go back to school for this program. Like, if if things didn't work out with this program, then I just wasn't gonna bother with going back for a master's. I love it. Gilliam says my Roomba makes noises randomly outside its schedule. It knows. It's like I want to clean. It's like, please let me out. I want to clean. What kind of noises does it make? Hello, Angry Moose on the loose. Welcome back. I saw 85-degree bakery and gamepad on your mug. Wait, gamepad? What's the gamepad? But this is definitely... Oh boy, this is a story in and of itself. Tried to make it a... wait, the gamepad? What's the gamepad? I'm not quite sure. But I tried to make this story quick. A few years back, maybe 5 or 6 years back, I was obsessed with 85 degrees bakery. I'm just obsessed with Asian bakeries in general. And then they opened their first, I think it might have been their second Bay Area location, but the first one that was like more easily accessible for us in terms of location. And so we decided to, like, me, my husband, and 2 of our friends, maybe 5 of us actually, decided to go and check out the grand opening of that location. And that day there was kind of like a grand opening promotion that was like, if you buy $20, you get one of these mugs. So we were waiting in line probably for like 30 minutes, 45 minutes or something just to get in. And when we get in, we like went ham, just like got everything that looked good. And I think we got to the counter, to the cashier, and I think we had like $60 worth. She rang us up and it was like $63 or something like that. So we were gonna get 3 of these mugs. And then there's this, if anyone's familiar with 85 degrees, arguably one of the best pastries from there is called Berry Tail. It's so good. And even on that first day, I guess it was so popular that like it just kept on running out. And husband, stop ruining it. Stop spoiling the story. But so I think it was, yeah, so there was Berry Tails, and like the whole time we were in there it was out, and then like I think it was supposed to come out in like 5 minutes or 10 minutes or something. And then we got to the front with the cashier and we were like, oh, when are the Berry Tails gonna come out? And she's like, oh, 5 minutes or something. And then we were like, can we just wait here until they come out? And she's like, no, you're gonna have to go back to the back of the line. That back of the line that took us like 45 minutes to wait in. And we're like, And so we just like kept on stalling, and we kept on like just asking her questions. And then finally she was like, fine, okay, we'll just let you have some of the Berry Tails, okay? And she like talks to one of the workers like in the back and be like, okay, just let them have some Berry Tails. And then she was like, how many Berry Tails do you want? And I can't remember how many we got, but we got enough because like our friends wanted them too. So we got enough for ourselves, we got enough for them, and all of that pushed us over to $80. So we ended up getting 4 of these mugs. And I have 0 regrets because these mugs are adorable. It says like fresh bread. The thing is though, we got so much bread after that. We got so much bread that after we were just eating it for like a week straight, just like not just for breakfast, but like for every meal. And after that, I never had the need to go to 85 degrees ever again. I was like, I don't want anything from 85 degrees. In fact, I think it just turned me off of most Asian bakeries, and I never went ever again. But it's all okay because we got these really cute mugs. That was the 85 degrees story. Oh, cool. Okay, I just read the part where Gilliam was explaining that keep the viewers alive in tech. If you transfer your viewers to another stream, then the category keeps its viewer count. Oh, how I feel like I've been off Twitch. I mean, I have been off Twitch for a month. How has it been on Twitch? Like, have things been okay? I have seen the recent news about the day off Twitch and all of the hate raids. I don't know how it's been affecting you all. I would love to hear your experiences. Did I say client bleed out? I can't remember anymore. Oh, Rach says, I think having some life experience gives you a better perspective on exactly what you want to accomplish in your grad school experience. I think that's really true. I think that I am grateful that I didn't go straight into grad school, because I think if I had gone straight into grad school after undergrad, I don't think I would have known what I wanted, and now I know exactly what I want out of the experience. I'm like, if I'm paying all that money, I'm gonna like squeeze every last drop out of it. Which, by the way, I have really been wanting to do a data viz about I've really been wanting to do a data viz about cost of tuition around the world, cost of tuition in the US and then versus the rest of the world, because it's ridiculous. I think that part is easy to get, or relatively straightforward to get the data for. I think what's much more nebulous is like, I think my curiosity is, well, my hypothesis is that the quality of education that we get for the amount that we spend is not necessarily justified, or rather the cost of our education is not necessarily justified by the quote-unquote quality increase. Like, it's not a linear increase in cost and quality. So I like really want to figure out like quality of an American education versus around the world, and like how much more are we paying for that. But I think trying to figure out how to quantify quality will be really hard. If you have any ideas, I would love to hear that. Gilliam says, Roombi makes by the way, Roombi is a very cute name. We will definitely not use it, but that's a very cute name. Roombi makes false starts at random times, and then it realizes it has already done its chores for the day and settles back in its dock with appropriate start and docking chimes. You know, that sounds like me. Just false starts. Oh. Wait, interesting. So Gilliam says, I think they're starting to rethink the whole 1 week of tests for the diploma thing now, aren't they? At least here now, the diplomas you get at 15 years old and 18 years old are controlled only by the tests all year long, whereas before the pandemic, these were only a portion and there were big tests at the end of the year. Interesting. I've always been really grateful that in the US, like for example, for like college entrance, that it was that they looked at the culmination of all 4 years of high school. Like they would look at my GPA, and they would look at like my extracurricular activities, or like the essay I wrote, or and then of course there's also the SATs, ACTs, etc., which is the 1 day of testing, as opposed to, I know that in China, I don't know if it's still this way, but I know that when I was in high school, China has a system called Gaokao, and that is, literal translation is high test, I guess is the literal translation. But it's essentially what the high schoolers take to place into colleges, and it's, I think, a 1 day thing. It's like they study all of their, like they spend all 3 of their high school years just studying for that 1 day. And if you miss it for any reason, like if you miss it because you're sick, like you were too, well, if someone's just sick, they would definitely still go. But like if you were like so sick you couldn't get out of bed, then you just missed it. And then you have to wait until the next year to test for college, and you just had to spend another year like studying. I think it's a very similar system in Japan. Yeah, I just remember being like, I am so glad that my college entrance does not depend on just that 1 day of Gaokao. Satsumeka. Satsumeka says, best way to quit an obsession, overindulge. This is about the 85 degrees. Unless drugs. Got it. Nothing changed in the past 4 years, Twitch being Twitch. Yeah, I saw the email that got sent out to the creators that was like, I think TLDR version. How I read into that email was, it basically said, we heard you and we've done nothing new, is basically how that email sounded. Because I think the like quote unquote tools that they listed in the email, I was like, none of these are new. Like obviously these aren't helping. So I don't know why listing them again is gonna make any difference. I have no idea. Yeah, Nerdy Curious says Twitch is just basically reaffirming that they actually don't care about their creators. Which, I mean, I guess, is there an example of a corporation that actually cares about their creators? I'm trying to think of one. Like, not as a sarcastic comment, but like an actual kind of like a actual question. Like a corporation creating a platform that puts their creators over monetization. I would imagine that they probably do that at the beginning, and then at some point I feel like there's a switch, and then it's all about profit. We'll love to know if there is a corporation that, like, even at a bigger size, still prioritize their creators over monetization. Oh, I'm curious to hear about what your panic mode is, Nerdy Curious. Panic mode command into our stream, so at least we're somewhat prepared in case we get hate raided. But I wish Twitch would just build that functionality into their platform directly. Oh no. Nerdy Curious said, it's been bad. I've seen it happen firsthand. There has been a lot of doxing, and there are people who have just straight up stopped streaming because of it. Yeah. Oh, Nerdy Curious says, although they've stumbled a lot, Patreon does seem to legitimately care about their creators. But that being said, Patreon was created by musicians, so actually not 100% sure what the implication of that is. Oh, wait, people moved to Patreon, like from Twitch to Patreon, you mean? Or actually, I did watch a really interesting YouTube video where the creator was talking about how they, like, it was a commentary about, I think they were saying that they, after getting to a certain size on YouTube, they prefer just posting on their Patreon directly, because when they post on their YouTube, it's just anyone can watch it, and then sometimes it's like people that's like outside of their community that doesn't like, you know, maybe get the context in which they're speaking from, or it just feels more toxic or like more draining. Whereas the Patreon is like, they know that they're that the people that have access to the content that they're putting up is like the people that are on their side and support them, and so it really does feel like a safe space for them to make content. I thought that was such an interesting point. Obviously I've like never thought about this, but I thought it was just like a really, really interesting, yeah, perspective. Oh, interesting. Like, keep streaming here, but encourage Patreon rather than subs. Oh, just so that like Twitch can't monetize off of the subs. That's a really fair point. I feel like I've talked about Patreon quite a few times of like I was considering making a Patreon, but at the same time I couldn't quite figure out what I would offer as reward, and that's the reason why I haven't done any sort of a Patreon. Although I think primarily I was like, the amount that Twitch takes out for like an affiliate and even for a partner feels really ridiculous. It just feels so ridiculous. I think even from that perspective, I feel like it makes sense to move to Patreon so that Twitch can't take that amount of money. So Patreon's like what? Like I think Twitch is like 50%. They take 50% of every sub, and then for an affiliate, and then they take 25% of every sub from a partner, which is a lot. And whereas I think Patreon's like what, 3 or 10% or something, much smaller. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Gilliam says, yeah, with YouTube, I'm guessing with YouTube and Patreon, you can do a private link. Doesn't show in listings. That's really true. Nerdy Curious says, I think an artist-created platform means the platform and the people behind the platform have a better understanding of how creative minds work. That's really interesting. That's fair. That's a really good point. If I remember correctly, Twitch was created. One of the founders of Twitch is now on YouTube, and he got recommended to me a few times. That person is definitely a serial entrepreneur, and now I think he's doing VC. So yeah, definitely. And then I guess it got sold to Amazon, and Amazon is Amazon. And so I guess less priority for the creators and more culturally, it's probably just more priority for monetization rather than creation. Yeah, Twitch takes the biggest cut in comparison to all the other platforms. Yeah. Oh, Patreon is roughly 5 to 10%. That's great to know. Yeah, a $3 tier on Patreon gives you more than a sub here. And actually, I think that's the part that has like always really rubbed me the wrong way of like when someone is kind enough to sub here, like their $5 is only like, if they're trying to sub to support the content I was making, then their $5 is essentially like only $2.50 was going to me, which is like, in terms of the, I don't know how to describe it, but like in terms of the efficiency of money, like, how do I say it? It's like, it's the most inefficient way. It's like a very inefficient, it's not an exchange of money, but like, it's like a very, like the platform made for an inefficient way for them to support me. I think that's probably the vocabulary. And I think that's always rubbed me the wrong way about Twitch as a platform, that like they took such a big cut. In that sense, I wonder how like the early days of the Twitch partner and affiliate was. Like, did they take a much smaller cut and then only increase the cuts after they got more popular as a platform? Yes, that is true. It's an efficient way for Twitch to make a lot of money. Yes. But for what my understanding of a sub is supposed to be for, which is someone's way of showing that they like the content or appreciate the content, or want to support the creator, it is the most, I find it even, I can even say enraging, how much Twitch takes, because it's like, I'm not saying inefficient to be like a knock on any person that subs. I'm saying inefficient in that like what they think they're paying to support their favorite creators is like only 50% of that is going towards their goal. Oh, partners can negotiate a better split, but the highest split I've heard is roughly 70-30, and that's only the top creators. Wait, I thought partners were guaranteed a 75% that they take back. True, we do need a platform to stream video in high quality. Oh, they aren't guaranteed anymore. What the fuck? I guess the part that we're probably missing, the context that we're missing, is like, how much does it cost to upkeep a platform of this size that has to support live streaming at the scale that it is? Like, how much does that actually cost? I still don't think it justifies the high split. But I would imagine that the overhead of maintaining live streams for the amount of streamers that they do have on the platform is probably not an insignificant amount. Oh, interesting. Yeah. But then I guess to that same point, I guess Patreon probably just does not have the same overhead. That's a very interesting thought experiment of like, perhaps is that Patreon is able to ask for only 5 to 10% of the cut because they don't have as high of overhead. Like, running a website like Patreon is not going to be as resource intensive from like, like having a website that collects money and then hosts some amount of content that doesn't have to be real time. And actually, I don't think they even host their own videos. Like, it hosts like written content, but I don't think it hosts video content. So that must be a much smaller overhead than Twitch, that has to be able to host not only VODs, but also all of the live streams that are happening concurrently. Yeah, that's a really high overhead. So I still don't like how much they take, but I guess it makes more sense. Yeah, it's expensive for sure, but they could do better than 50-50 for the majority of their income. Yeah. Exactly, Patreon doesn't stream at all. Cloud scale isn't a thing. They have MP3s, but that's about it. Yeah. Yeah, let me not try to tell Twitch how to run their business. Because I guess because that's probably Twitch's main income, right? The streaming, the subs. So if the subs are it probably is their main source of revenue, right? The subs for Twitch. If that's the case, there's probably also a lot of streamers. Like there's probably something that's like if we were to like chart it in a graph, like there's probably like the peak is probably where the y-axis is like number of streamers, and then the x-axis is like not page, not like not partner and not affiliate, and then there's like partner and affiliate. I wonder, it's probably that they have their peak in the like not partner and not affiliate, and then it probably like has a long tail, or it just has a tail. So then whatever the partners and affiliates are making, and Twitch getting a cut of that probably also has to support the like the cost of the non-partners and non-affiliates streaming too. Oh, advertising. You're right. I forgot about advertising. Then why are they taking the... Okay. Let's move on. I forgot about advertising. Yeah, why are they taking the subs? Stop. Just... Okay. Okay. Anyways, moving on. There was something that I wanted to mention earlier that was about a happier topic. About creating... maybe it's not as happy of a topic, but about client work. Hopefully I'll try it in a... Yeah, enough stuff says need to get a data visualization on this revenue split plus CDN costs. Yeah, that would be interesting. They probably have that data internally. Ooh, that would be super interesting. Oh man. Oh, I want to see that data. They definitely have that data internally. If anyone's from Twitch. Yeah, take money from the other corporations. I agree with you, Nerdy Curious. Stop penalizing us scrubs. True. Satsmeka says corporations fight back too well. True. Okay, let's talk about clients. I think all I wanted to say about clients is like, I'm not doing a very good job setting a boundary between, because like, I'm thinking about going back to school as kind of like, there's this next step that I want to take in the things that I create. And I feel like doing classwork and doing things related to school is going towards that, like, kind of like that future dream I have. And then every time that I take on client work or want to take on client work is like the thing that's kind of like keeping me still back where I currently am. Like it's kind of keeping me maybe even in the past. So this is still another one of those like work in progress sort of thoughts that I haven't fully processed and figured out. But it's like this tension between like, I've spent 8 years doing data visualizations. Like I've sunk 5 years into, freelancing and building up a portfolio and building up like a backlog of projects that are like, thankfully they get me really interesting projects. But they're projects in a format that I want to have. I don't want it to be 0% of my time, but I want it to be a much smaller percentage of my time than it used to be. Versus like there's new mediums that I want to play with and explore and learn, and I want that to be majority of my time. And so I feel this tension of because I had invested so much time previously into my freelance career, I think there's still such a huge pull towards it, and all of the projects coming in are still for that type of work. And I obviously haven't put out any work yet of like the kind of things that I want to do going forward and type of like projects that I want to spend more and more time on. And so I'm like feeling this tension of like, of how do I split my time between like classwork and things related to school that I find really interesting versus like the client projects that sometimes are quite interesting. Not sure if I described that very well, but if anybody feels that way, has the words to describe this feeling, you can even tell me that I just sound really spoiled and entitled again. I'm not sure, but these are my feelings right now. Oh yeah. Yeah, so wait. Oh, Grep Logic. Hello, welcome back in. It's great to have you back in here. Gilliam asks, have you started to shift your client projects towards the future? Do you mean like towards the future kinds that I want to work on? Not quite yet. Like I haven't, put anything out on my website about the kind of work I want to do in the future or anything. So I am still getting client project. I think it's like I just need to say no. I'm like, oh, this project sounds kind of interesting, and I'm like, oh, maybe I should take it on. I think I just need to learn to get better at saying no. That's just it. Pranav asks, what kind of work are you trying to transition to from Viz? So I still want to do Viz. I still want to do data Viz, but I think it's that I still love working with data. I still love trying to find interesting stories in data. So I don't think I want to transition away from data, and I don't want to transition away from visualizing data. I think it's that I want to start doing less of, because I think that the medium that I've been doing it in has been on the web, right? Like I've gotten really proficient making data viz with like D3, with Vue, and or with React, or just things for the web, and that has been really fun. But I think I want to explore trying to do them in different mediums. And I don't fully know what that means yet. I think it just means that I want to explore. I just want to explore like what kind of mediums are out there. And one of the things that really feels attractive is like immersive installations, and those are like much bigger efforts. But there's also, I feel like there's some really beautiful, really like cool things happening with like games, like generative, like Matt Delorier, just his work is always amazing. And I just came across his game that he just put out called Wayfarer, I think. I think he called it a generative art game, and it was very beautiful. I think just trying to, I think it's like, I think this master's program, unlike a lot of master's programs that are very much about like finding a focus and spending 2 years honing it, this master's program is very much about like broadening, so like exploring different technologies or different mediums. And I think it's that the kind of the short version of what I want to do is that I want to do data visualization, but for mediums, including but also beyond the web. And that's something that I haven't quite. I think the tension really comes from the fact that like I've spent many years defining and figuring out and building a portfolio for work, data visualization work for the web. And now I'm trying to figure out how to do the same thing for like other mediums. And I haven't figured that out. So then I just feel constantly pulled back to the work that I feel familiar with, that I know that I'm good at. And I think it's just about striking the balance between those two, of like trying to set the boundary of being like not abandoning what I've built up, but knowing that like that still needs to be nurtured, but then transitioning more of my attention to kind of the future of where I want to go and really defining that instead. I'm not sure if that makes sense. uh, Griff Logic, thank you. I uh, I've been hearing so much controversial things about NFTs. I think Gilliam had provided some great resources on Twitter that I think I've only read the energy concern for it as of right now about NFTs. Where I think I've heard that I can't pronounce the platform, the Hiset something. That one for NFTs are using crypto that isn't as energy intensive. I think this is like I just need to research into it, and then in the last like 2 months of trying to move cross country and wrapping up client projects, and actually for the last I feel like crypto NFTs is just something that like I feel like I was just so heads down on client projects, and it came and went, and I just need to do more research, but it does seem really exciting. If I can find a way that's, I think I just want to learn more and be more aware of what is controversial about it. But I do think it's really cool how it is allowing digital artists to be paid for their work in a way that doesn't have to be printed. And I think that part is really cool, because I think whenever I've considered something kind of more towards art, I think it's been hard to imagine, I think traditionally I've always imagined it as being I have to print it out and sell prints, or I've always thought of it as it has to be something in the physical world. And I think that this one is it's really interesting to think of it as digital artists can sell their work in exactly the medium that they created it in. I think that's a really cool concept, but I'm hesitant until I can fully understand all of the controversies. Altern, I think, I think 3D game engines would be really cool. I think less the MATLAB and Python and all of that, but more I think game engines, it'd be really cool. I'm really fascinated with game engines from both a technical perspective, but also from an artistic perspective. I think just more hardware things I think will be really interesting. Surely as the proof of work. Sorry, what? What? Ethereum's hard fork London is proof of stake. Not quite sure if I understand what that means. Oh. That's the new. I have heard that. So this will probably bring the energy requirement down by 80%. Oh, so is hard fork the version of Ethereum that does promise to be more energy efficient? Is that what you mean? Yeah, thank you, Pranav. Mediums like games, generative art, interactive tactile projects. Yes, exactly. Thank you. Yeah, some people doing interesting work in this area are Matt Delorier, Amelia Wattenberger, Nadi Bremer, and many others I don't know about. Twitter is a great place to check out this work. Um, and Grep Logic says, here's a quote from CNBC: Ethereum 2.0 would have the network switch from the energy intensive proof of work mining system, where miners solve difficult math equations to create new coins, to proof of stake, which just requires users to leverage their existing cache of Ether as a means to verify transactions and mint new tokens. This change will be huge not just for Ethereum, but for the wider cryptocurrency community at large. Interesting. Oh, I see. Got it. Yeah, I think this is such an interesting conversation. I think it's something that I want to look into. Yeah. Hopefully by next time we talk, I've had a chance to look into it. And earlier I said that I was going to talk about the classes. So the classes, I'm quite excited. I think in the last stream I mentioned some of the classes I was taking that were, one class is about like video and sound and essentially time-based storytelling with an interactive element. So I think that's the game engines part. So I think that class is, we're gonna learn kind of like video editing, but also I think the second half of the class is about learning how to create your own game engines. And so that's the class I'm most excited about. And then there's another class that's about essentially it's hardware, microcontrollers, and sensors. So excited for that class also. Then there's like a theory class that we're required to take. And then my two electives that I ended up choosing is a class called Art Toy Design, which I'm really excited about. It's going to be really fabrication heavy. And so I'm just excited to kind of like make something with my hands. And then something called Creating with TinyML. And apparently TinyML is this machine learning library, I think based on TensorFlow, please don't quote me, that are tiny enough to be able to be embedded in like small hardware devices. So that should also be really interesting. I'm pretty excited. I'm trying to go more like hardware and fabrication heavy this semester. But yeah. Oh, thank you so much, Grip Logic. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you. That's really, really nice of you to say. And I am very much for artists being compensated how they should be. And I am also very excited about it potentially being a way to be compensated. I think it's that, I don't know how to describe this, but I think tech has this, this is something we've also touched on in the past, where I think tech has this culture of open source where I think it has its good parts where essentially like, I think open source is both so good but also so harmful for the individuals that do decide to provide their work for free. And this is something that I've struggled with, just like trying to figure out how I feel about it, which is that I have no regret for the all of the work that I put out there for free, and all of the lessons and materials I put out there for free, and the talks I've given. I think it's like they were amazing learning opportunities for myself, and they were just fun. And then when I was doing them, I never really thought about getting money from them. And I think and I think especially being part of the tech open source culture, I just thought it was a given to contribute without expecting anything monetary. And the reverse, the uglier side of that is like, I think, the quiet, shame, the shaming that kind of happens when someone does, decide to ask for money. I think it's getting better. I think it really is getting better in the open source culture to um, like, what's the word, to acknowledge and be like, no, the person that's doing the free work, they shouldn't be doing, just because what they're putting out, is freely available, it doesn't mean that they should not be compensated for their labor. All of this is a very long tangent to say that while I don't regret any of the things that I put out there for free, because I think I've gained many invaluable things from it that's not monetary. I have in recent years as a freelancer felt the pressure of putting out free work, knowing that it is sacrificing, I am sacrificing my actually paid hours to put out that free work. And I've been trying to figure out a way to monetize for my work that makes sense. And if NFTs is one of those options, that'd be really awesome. I just want to do what I do and not have to worry about money, which is probably what everybody wants. I especially love LeftPad, Henry, for like the talks that he's given about open source, and just him speaking so candidly about how much burnout he had working in open source. I don't know if he still does, but he quit his full-time job to work on maintaining Babel, and just the talks he's given about the burnout he's faced as the primary maintainer of Babel, and how many people take the open source nature of his work for granted, and his talks are well worth a watch, and I'm really, really glad that he went out and gave those talks, because I think it was a really, really necessary wake-up call. I think his talk has also made me think a lot more about the culture, the toxic side of open source culture. And so I think it's that, I think how I've shifted more and more towards I should be paid for the value that I'm contributing. And that makes me really happy to be able to say. So I still don't know what format that is. I still feel guilty when I barely promote my workshops, like my front-end master's workshops, or any of my courses. I don't think I ever promote them because I feel weird being like, hey, go pay money to watch this thing that I spent hundreds of hours, potentially even thousands of hours, dozens of hours of just prepping, and then hundreds to thousands of hours to just acquire the skills to be able to teach that way. I still feel weirdly shameful, or to be oh, this content that I deserve to be paid for, please go check it out and pay for it, maybe, so that I can get royalties. I still feel really weird doing that. I still feel shy about promoting those things, and I'm trying to get better at it. I'm trying to be I deserve to be paid. This is just like a mantra I'm trying to say to myself. Like, I deserve to be paid for what I do and the value that I do bring. Um, oh, Galen says, yes, but that's always been part of the balance of freelance, has to strike publicity time versus project time. I think that's really interesting in that, like, I think there's publicity that's like, I don't expect to be paid, for example. I think, okay, so this is a first draft thought, but perhaps the difference is I don't expect to be paid if someone's interviewing me for their podcast or their blog post or their article, because they're doing all of the hard work, right? I just have to show up and then like say some things, and they're gonna they're putting in the effort to make that into good content. So in that sense, that sort of publicity, I have zero expectations to be paid for. I am grateful for them. And I mean, like, I hope they're being paid somehow for the work that they're putting in. But this is like, the other example is like, for the people that are doing, like, creating the podcast or creating the blog posts, or like in my case, it was, data sketches for years was a passion project that like happened to like have a really like happened to be very helpful for a lot of people, and then we spent years making it into a book, and now we're seeing like some amounts of monetary return, not that many because publishers take majority of the cut, but again, that one we didn't do necessarily we didn't do for money, but like all of the years before the book published, all the 4 or 5 years that we were working on it, like that's basically free labor that we put in. That's like a lot of time and effort that like you can argue is like we did it for fun. It was really fun. Like we genuinely enjoyed it. Like I am so glad for the friendship I have with Nadi, because like she's now one of my like really good friends. But I do think that the value that we brought with the content that we made, I do think it should be compensated. And I'm not saying that to be like I want money. I'm saying that to be like that's what, like, I think good content deserves good compensation. I'm not saying that even about like the two of us. I'm just saying like in general, there's like so much good value and content that is put out that just like deserve more compensation than they currently do. And so I guess what I'm trying to say is like there are some publicity that's like I'm barely putting in any work and I don't expect to be compensated at all. And then there's other like quote unquote things done for publicity as a freelancer, because they're like my portfolio projects I did for fun. At a certain point, it goes beyond the threshold of publicity for myself, and it gets into the realm of like it's actually helpful for others, it's actually providing value for others. And I think that's the point at which like we should recognize as like a community that like, hey, this might be art, this might be passion projects, but like this is the fact that it's providing value. I think we should acknowledge and compensate the person for that, whoever it is. That's, I think, the kind of change I would love to see from like our kind of like tech community or our data viz community, just not just expecting good educational content for free. But I think I'm also I think my ideas maybe are sometimes idealistic. I don't know. Grep Logic says, prematurely saying open source has given me a lot, and I also have no regrets for the parts and pieces I've been fortunate enough to contribute back. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing. Gilliam says, I was contacted once or twice by folks who use my free tutorials in their paid teachings. Yeah, I don't know how to feel about that. Like, Would love to hear how you feel about that, Gilliam. Uh, Altern says, it seems like this is the right place to brag. Yes, please do brag. I have developed really complex C3 visualizations for my project. It turned out to be 3,000 lines of code. How many lines of code are your visualizations usually? I don't keep track. Gilliam says, do you count deleted lines? Lol. I don't keep track because a lot of my projects, they're all like multi-file projects. So I don't, I don't usually go in and count every single file. I think for each file, I try to keep it between 200 to 500 lines of code. And then for my projects can have like, so by each file, I mean components. Each component, I try to keep it between 200 to 500 or 600 lines of code. I think 600 lines of code is like my max of how much I want a component to be. And then my projects probably will be somewhere between 3 to 10 components per project, like depending on the complexity of it. But I don't actually know how big my projects are. Yeah. So I think we do, a lot of us, to Gilliam's point about like water under the bridge now, but the time I was hoping it would boost my street cred. I think a lot of us do a lot of good quality free content essentially for the street cred. Yeah, I still don't know how I fully feel about it. I think it is an opinion that is slowly marinating, an opinion that is slowly forming, and someday in a future stream I'll come back and be like, I know exactly how I feel now. Yeah. You know what else I've been trying to start up and then haven't been able to start up, and then I just try to make myself feel better by being like, you've been trying to do a cross-country move, so don't feel bad that you haven't been able to. So I've been trying to start up the like YouTube channel. I really want to do, like, I keep saying every stream, I'm like, I want to do videos where I document the behind the scenes process of the projects I do. Yeah, I think I'm scared of the editing part. But yeah, I've been like both blaming myself for not getting to editing of like, I've shot like 2 or 3 videos worth of stuff, and then I haven't gotten to the editing, and I'm both like blaming myself, being like, why aren't you editing? But also I'm like trying to be like, I just made a cross-country move, so maybe I should be nicer to myself. So on that note, I think perhaps I need to go so that I can work on my client project that is due this week. My one last client project. Hopefully my last client project. I super hope that's my last client project for at least this semester and hopefully this academic year. Altern, I really would suggest, if you're having trouble structuring the code, because having 2,000 lines of code in one update method would get really hard to maintain. If you haven't had the chance yet, I would encourage looking into one of those like React or Vue or just any one of those frameworks and libraries that will like kind of help you figure out how to think about structuring and architecting your code. I think that might really help. I don't have any like, you should look into React or you should look into Vue, or although for D3 and for DataVis, I've been hearing a lot of people say really good things about Svelte, but I don't have any personal like, this is the best one to learn from. I think any one of them will help you kind of reason about and think through your code and how to structure it, and that you might find that helpful. I think maybe I say this with an asterisk because I've never used Svelte, but Svelte might be a good option because it's created very much with data visualizations in mind. Yeah. How people have been using Patreon. Oh, wait, what? I guess that's how people have been using Patreon? Huh? Wait, what? I missed it. The being compensated for the work and value that you put out. Yes, I think so. And so, yeah, lots to think about. Whoa, okay, you are using React. My bad. Sorry for the suggestion. 3,000 lines is just for the D3 part. Yeah, I wonder... It's just one update for one component. It is really complicated. Oh, interesting. Enough Stuff says GitHub sponsors takes the lowest cut versus Patreon, whatever. I haven't looked enough into GitHub sponsors, but my understanding was that was for like open source maintainers of large projects, like large libraries and stuff. That's why I never tried to apply to that. But I could be very wrong. Yeah, maybe I should look into it again. I saw GitHub sponsors when it first came out, but I haven't looked at it since. Oh, interesting. Altern, please tell us more about it the next time. In our, oh my god, October monthly check-in. How is it September? How is it October? Okay. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in today. I had a lot of fun. And thank you for all of the thoughts. Thank you for listening to my soapbox rants. I had a really great time catching up with you all. I'm looking forward to our October catch-up. Before we get going, I should ask, because our usual time, I'll now be in classes. Our usual Wednesday 2 p.m. PST, I'll be in classes. This is one of the times I'm considering. Was I considering any other times? Maybe Fridays? Okay, so I think for now, I think I'm gonna do this time. Monday 2 p.m. Eastern. I'll have a poll on Twitter. I'll ask on Twitter. I'll ask on Twitter for what's a better time going forward. Ooh, yeah. That'd be awesome. Yes, the Creative Cuties Data Viz channel would be awesome. And then yeah, thank you for sharing, Pranav and Gilliam. Okay, so tentatively next one of our check-ins will be the first Monday of the month at 2 p.m. Eastern. But I will ask on Twitter for your preferences. So thank you so much for joining today, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye. Have a great September. Bye-bye.